morning.
Morning.
The tables have turned. Look at this. Oh, that's so funny. I was thinking about that this morning, that, of all the years we've spent together, not sure we would have ever anticipated me interviewing you. Of all the times you held my hand through so many interviews, and I'm grateful for that.
It was fun. Some of the best memories.
Yeah.
Time for sure.
Absolutely. I did off the top. I did a little intro, but in case you guys missed that, Nadia and I go way back. She was really my first sports agent right after the 1998 Olympics, when I was 22 years old, and not very mature. I would say I was a young 22 and about to embark on the ride of my life, and Nadia was a young agent for a company called Gold Medal Management, and the boss agent basically was like, Nadia, you need to make sure this guy fulfills his contracts. And so Nadia and I spent many years on the road working, doing business, and we had an amazing time, along with Peekaboo Street, who we rolled with as well.
True. Yeah, I was, this gave me an opportunity to reflect back on some of that as well. And I don't know if you were a young 22. I mean, 22 is pretty young. I think you did just fine for yourself. I think for me, I learned a ton from you as well, and from Peak too. So it was a fun time, and yeah, a lot of traveling and I think a lot of growth for all of us.
Yeah, it was a perfect little combo. Then of course, it's been awesome to just watch you grow into, an amazing career. You obviously moved out to Tahoe from Colorado. That agency was in Boulder, which is where you're from, and then did a couple things, and then started representing some other athletes, including Tanner Hall, and then went on to start working in the ski industry proper. Taking over sort of the management at North Star, which of course is a Vail Resort. And now you are the chief operating officer and vice president at Beaver Creek, one of Vail's finest resorts, I would say. Of course, the host of the World Cup, which isn't happening this year. And you've been there for what? You've been there for a year now?
Yeah, May was a year. May 1st marked a year, so just over a year.
Yeah, I remember when we talked, and you were moving out of Tahoe, and you have a lot of love for Tahoe, and you were moving back to Colorado. How are you settling in? How are you liking? How's the transition?
It's been great. The community, both the whole Eagle County as well as Vail and Beaver Creek community, has embraced me with open arms, which has been wonderful. And it's been good to be back. My parents do still live on the Front Range. And so in normal times, I'd be seeing them a lot. It's been a little bit difficult lately as they are getting older and have, various health concerns here and there. But it's been really, there's been a real sense of familiarity for me since I did grow up here. I was gone for almost 20 years, but a real familiarity with Colorado. And of course, I think anytime you're moving and making that big of a move, but working for the same company, mm-hmm. there's less transition from that standpoint. I'm going into my 14th year in ski resort industry management. And so there's a familiarity from that standpoint. But it's been great. The family has transitioned well. I'm happy to be here. Of course, it's been an interesting year in a lot of ways, but nobody could have ever predicted that, right? But I love it here. It's beautiful. Beaver Creek is an amazing resort with so many things to offer, not just things like World Cup, which, as you mentioned, won't be happening this year, but the skiing is incredible. The skiing experience at Beaver Creek is, there's something for everyone. And so that part of discovering a new resort has been really fun.
Yeah, I have to say, I started, Beaver Creek was never on the freestyle circuit. It's an alpine racing oriented mountain. We never went there post 98 Olympics, you and me for stuff. And I started going out there and skiing and around the World Cups. And you guys have a lot of great moguls, actually. Some of the, besides your groomed slopes, I do like the bumps there. In fact, I think they have like don't they have like a mogul like marathon there on
Yeah, we do. There's an event that we have called Talent Challenge, and
there
so
it is
over on Grouse Mountain. And so those are really the steepest runs on our mountain, and they do get bumped out like you're talking about. And so the Talent Challenge is hitting all the runs on Grouse Mountain, and then some various other ones as well. So it does end up being kind of an unofficial bumped challenge.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just know I have a couple bump skier guys that I always hear about when that happens, and they tend to be, going for it and exhausted. So, but I wanted to get you on the line to catch up with you. It's always great, but obviously, we're trying to get a sense of what the experience is going to be like for skiers going to all the resorts, when they're trying to plan their vacations, from all over the States or from locally even, and try to just get a little bit of color on, the different policies, the different plans of the different ski resorts. So I thought you could shed some light on not only Beaver Creek, but the whole Vail Epic Pass program itself. I guess we can start sort of with how Beaver Creek individually, like what's your general philosophy? How are you, planning to handle lift lines, et cetera?
Well, thanks for that. And I know a lot of people are thinking about the winter and planning their winter trips and their ski trips. And I think it's great that you guys are doing this, because I think it is helpful for everyone to figure out what is it going to be like, because in this COVID environment, as we all know, it feels like everything is different and everything has changed, right? So, our goal is to really be out front in our approach to help our guests and employees and communities have a safe and enjoyable ski season all season long. So we have put some things in place, not just at Beaver Creek, but at all 34 of our North American resorts. It will be a consistent approach across all of our resorts. So what you experience at Beaver Creek is what you will also experience at Hunter Mountain or Stevens Pass or Park City. And in terms of lift lines, we will be doing a couple things. We will be requiring guests to wear masks, face coverings, along with our employees. And we will be providing enough space to do physical distancing. So the general guideline, as we all know, is about 6 feet. And luckily, that's also about the length of skis in general. And so we will be expanding our mazes and looking at ways to provide that safe experience for our guests in terms of being able to have space and distance from one another.
Yeah, specifically, I know one of the cool things about Beaver Creek is you guys have a gondola that's for your beginners, and it's a kind of a smart idea as opposed to saving it for the more expert skiers going way up the mountain. It keeps them warm, and I've always thought that was a smart idea. Is that going to be operational? How is that working?
Right, so you're talking about the Meadow Gondola, and it is sort of right in our front yard area, right by the village, and it is a short gondola, and it does access more of that beginner terrain in the Meadow. It will be operational. We will be operating it. We are putting plans in place to ensure distancing in our gondolas, which will mean reduced capacity. And that gondola in particular is utilized mainly by ski school. It is open to the public, but there's a lot of ski school classes that do access that gondola. And so that's probably one of the things you want to talk about too, is ski and ride school. But as it relates to the gondola, it will be operational, and we will be providing distancing. So, depending on the capacity of the gondola, it'll either be 2 singles sitting opposite one another, or 2 related parties sitting distance from one another. Of course, people who are in groups, like you and your family would certainly be able to ride all together, or groups of people that are skiing together can ride all together. Okay,
so, and I've been asking the resorts this, how do people determine if you're a family or not? Is it just, is it basically how do they determine if you're in the same cohort or a family?
Right. I think, a lot of that is going to be guest responsibility and identification. So if you and I are skiing together with, maybe your wife and my husband, and we have determined that we're a group skiing together, then we would say we're a group, we're skiing together, we're going to ride together if we were all comfortable with that. So, I think we will rely a lot on our guests to let us know who's skiing together as a group, because otherwise it would be quite difficult to figure that out. So I think that's the main way. And then of course, ski school groups will be more identifiable.
Yeah, let's talk about, I do want to talk about ski school a little bit. But first, while I'm thinking about it, lift lines, let's just jump back to that for a second. Beaver Creek, not necessarily a problem. It's already kind of a mellow place to ski. I mean, you probably may have some capacity ranges, but right next door, Vail, I think they get the most skier numbers per day that have ever, that any ski resort's ever seen. What is the plan for dealing with that? And even at, say, max capacity, how are the lift line mazes going to work? Stuff like that.
So, well, I think, the capacity piece is a big part of it. And so, as you know, and most people who are following, we have announced a reservation system for this year. So that is, that's going to be in place for every day of the season. And that is going to be the first way that we will manage access and capacity to our mountains. So, and I think, in terms of Vail and some of those other larger mountains, the bigger issue or the bigger challenge will come with some of the portal lifts, some of the access lifts, the ones that people start their day on. And we will be expanding our mazes. So the mazes will look larger than they ever have, even on peak days. In order to provide that distancing, we will have staff and people helping to manage those lines, and a lot of signage, of course, as we've seen throughout our daily life, a lot of signs reminding people to distance and wear their masks. Okay.
And so then how does the ski school line work? How does ski school in general, is ski school still happening?
Ski school is happening, and we're excited. We're going to be offering both group and private lessons, with adjustments, of course, like everything else. Ski and ride school classes will have a maximum of 6, so a maximum class size of 6. Specifically for the younger ones, 5 and 6-year-olds, that'll be a maximum class size of 4. So we'll manage kind of grouping and crowding in that way. And then the little ones, the 3 and 4-year-olds, because they often spend a lot of their day indoors, we will be offering one-on-one 1-hour private lessons for that group, so that we can still get them out and about and skiing and learning to ski, which is important for all of us as we are passionate about this sport and want to continue growing it. Lessons will all be purchased in advance, so no walk-up bookings. It'll all be in advance, and that will help us with planning for the day. The other part about it, in terms of ski school and advanced lessons, it will include a reservation for the day. So if someone is going to look to book a lesson, all they will need to do is book the lesson, and it'll include the reservation, so they don't have to take 2 steps on that. So that's a really great benefit of ski school this year. We will require face coverings for everyone in a lesson, and of course for our instructors. And all of our ski and ride school participants will be required to complete a pre-arrival self-health screening on the day of their lesson. So, because in some cases, physical distancing won't be entirely possible. And so we will require that self-health screening in advance.
Yeah, that was a question that popped into my mind. So like if a kid shows up with a runny nose or something like that, I mean, is it, like, for example, at our school, we're going to have to show like a green light that we took this survey when we show up, to school. How is the execution of that, I guess? Is it done when you show up, or is it done ahead of time when you book your reservation?
Right. It's not when you book your reservation, it's the day of your lesson. And so you will,
makes sense.
So you will do the health screening, in the morning before you show up to check in for your lesson.
And that's like on the app or online at epicpass.com?
Yeah, I think we're still working out some of the particulars of the details of how that's going to work, but it will be, there'll be technology involved for sure.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So you mentioned that if you book a ski school lesson, that your ticket is included. That kind of brings up the reservation system and how you get it in the Epic Pass. Obviously, the well-known pass is the standard Epic Pass. Tell me a little bit about the different levels, right? The Epic Pass, the local pass, and what I think is called the Epic Day Pass.
Right. So, there is the Epic Pass, so the full Epic, which gives you access to all of our mountains. And then there are Epic local passes, which are sort of more by region and give you, so if you're in Tahoe and you want only access to the Tahoe mountains, that's possible. Same thing in Colorado. And then the other part, which I'm really glad you brought up, is the Epic Day Pass, which is a unique product. We introduced it last year. And that product it functions as a season pass for us. So it is, the guest can buy 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, up to 7 days worth of skiing. So if you're someone who maybe doesn't want to commit to the full Epic Pass or to a full season pass, because you're, for whatever reason, you can say, well, I know I'm going to ski 3 days this year. So I'm going to buy a 3-day Epic Day Pass. And the benefit for that is because of the advance commitment, because you're coming in early, you do get about a 50% discount off of the day ticket price. And then, as I mentioned, it does function as a pass product for us. So the Epic Day Pass holders will have the exclusive access to the early season booking of reservations. And so that's it's a really great product for people who, and there's a lot of these types of people, right, who we know that are only going to ski for a certain period of time for a certain number of days, because either they don't live near the mountains or whatever it is. So the Epic Day Pass it does receive that priority access just like the other passes.
Okay, so just to clarify for everybody listening, the Vail Resorts that are under Vail's ownership all require reservations. So you need to make a reservation. You can reserve 7 days. As soon as use one, you can use more. You can book another one, correct?
Right. So that's right. All 34 of our North American resorts will require reservations this year for every day. And yes, depending on availability and the type of pass you have, you will be able to, as soon as the window opens on November 6th, as a pass holder, will be able to book your 7 priority reservation days. So if you're someone who says, oh, I know I want to ski every Saturday, so you can book your 7 Saturdays, or if it's a holiday period, whatever it is, and you hold your 7 days, and then you're correct. Once you use one of those, so if it's Saturdays, once you use your first Saturday, you can go back in and book another priority reservation day. So you can always hold 7 priority reservation days.
And the same holds true for the local pass at your local resorts, at the resorts that are on that list.
Yep, depending on availability. And I should mention also, so while you're holding those 7 priority reservation days, once the window opens for the following week to make reservations, you can make as many week of reservations as you wish. And in fact, you can even make day of reservations if there's availability. So if you look that morning and you think, oh, I want to go skiing today, all my meetings canceled, whatever it was, as long as there's availability, you can make a day of reservation. Okay.
And that availability you can see by going to epicpass.com?
Right. The availability you can see by going to epicpass.com, and you can see the availability for all 34 of our resorts is right there. So it's a one-stop location to go. You don't have to go to several different websites or anything. It's just epicpass.com. You can go on there. And so, yeah, if I thought, well, today I'm going to ski Beaver Creek, but next week I know I'm going to go to Vail for 2 days. You can do it all right there on epicpass.com.
Okay. And the app Epic Mix that I downloaded today that's not for functionality for pass reserving. That's more for tracking your vertical feet, things like that?
Correct. Yep. That's an app to track your vertical feet, to keep track of the days you skied on. We do have virtual pins that you can earn, just like many of the other kind of fitness apps that we see these days. So you can get, if you ski on Thanksgiving, you get the Turkey Day pin,
Right.
that type of thing. So it's fun. You can also, with Epic Mix, the app, so if you were to put your sons in ski school, you can see what they've done as well. So we have Epic Mix Academy, which goes along with it. So you can see how they're progressing, what level they are, what they did that day. So you can keep track of them as well.
Okay. All right. So Epic Mix for fun, entertainment, epicpass.com for business, and check in there. And I guess what I'm trying to sort of work my way down to is, initially I think when the announcement came out, it's sounded to me a little bit like, okay, really no day tickets. But the truth is, if there's availability, you can buy a day ticket, which I think the cost of just a walk-up day ticket that you apply through your app is roughly what at Beaver Creek?
So there will be day lift tickets. Now, I think the one caveat to remember is day lift tickets actually will not go on sale until December 8th. So we're reserving that early season, that November 6th through December 7th, for our valued pass holders.
Okay.
So only pass holders will be able to make reservations and ski during that period of time. Starting December 8th, lift tickets will go on sale. It will be all advance purchase.
Okay.
And so that's a key.
But advance purchase could mean in the parking lot potentially, right? If necessary, if available. I mean, you're running the risk of it being booked, but that could be an advance purchase.
If you're able to go on, with your phone in.
Right.
I believe that's accurate. And as long as there's availability, you can purchase that ticket, and then you would go to the pass office just to redeem it and pick it up. But there'll be no on-site season pass office or day lift ticket purchasing in the office.
Okay. However, the Epic Day Pass, you could potentially buy an Epic Day Pass in the window from November 6th to December 6th. But you could buy a 1-day pass. You could buy a 1-day ticket potentially, right?
You can buy a 1-day Epic Day Pass for as long as they are on sale. The Epic Day Passes go off sale the same as our Epic Pass.
December 6th.
So right, those will be off sale at that point. And so right, if you were, the night before or even the morning before up until that December date thinking I'm going to ski tomorrow, buying an Epic Day Pass would be a good way to go for sure.
Or if you thought you were going to ski a day this year, or 2 days, you might want to get online in the window, buy the ticket, and then, you can, reserve a day and change it, but you won't have to deal with do I have capacity restrictions? That's the way to buy a day pass. And it's more inexpensive that way is what I gather from the website.
That's right. And I think the important thing to keep in mind is just that will end. You won't be able to do that all season long. The day pass will stop being sold when we stop selling season passes.
Okay. 10-4. All right.
It will require some advanced planning.
Okay. Not my specialty, but I'll get used to it.
Well, I think, we're all getting used to the new ways of doing things, right?
Exactly. I did notice that the pass office will be open in some respect, correct? Like if you don't get your pass mailed to you, et cetera, you can walk in and deal. There will be someone there.
Right. Our pass offices on site at our resorts will be open. They will, the primary reason for them to be open will mostly be for redemption. So there will not be transactions happening day of, but there will be redemption available and people available to answer questions and things like that.
Okay. All right. Now let's talk about, say you buy I'm assuming if I buy an Epic Day Pass in the window, and then say I buy a 2-day or I buy a local. If I don't get out there for some reason, whether it's personal, I don't know, what is the, I guess, warranty, guarantee? I
think you're referring to Epic coverage.
Yes.
So Epic coverage, after last season ended early and we've all had to look at ways, like we've talked about, new ways of doing things, we have introduced our new free Epic coverage program. And so this new program really replaces the pass insurance. And so kind of like you're talking about, if for some reason, eligible personal events, job loss, illness, things like that, we will provide refunds this year. And that's a big designation for us. It'll be a refund versus a credit.
Okay.
And so that'll be it'll be prorated based on use. So if you bought an Epic Day Pass and you used it 2 days and something happened to where you needed to request a refund, it would be prorated based on the days that you've used. On top of that, I think this is another key thing for guests to remember is that Epic coverage will also provide refunds if guests are not able to get the priority reservations they want. So if you buy a pass and you get on to make your reservations and you cannot get what you want and you've not used your pass, we will issue a refund if that's the route you want to go.
Okay, so if you go on and you bought your ticket, because I imagine that happens first, then you can make your reservation. That's kind of the sequence, and your dates aren't available. The coverage you get coverage.
Right. If you buy a pass, if you buy a season pass, an Epic Pass, and you go on and you're not able to get the planned dates of when you're coming out for your trip or when you want to ski and you've not used your pass, then you can request a refund. Okay.
And as far as if you buy a 1-day ticket and a 1-day Epic Day Pass and you never use it, you can potentially get a full refund. It's not credit towards the next year.
That's right.
Even if you have to buy that in the window, even if it's in that window, that early window, it's a full refund of whatever you paid.
That's right. Well, right. You'll only be able to buy the Epic Day Pass in that early window of time. And so, right, if you were to buy a 1-day or 2-day, because you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna head out to Vail and I'm gonna ski 2 days, and something comes up and you're not even able to travel or whatever it is, right, you can get a refund.
Okay, cool. All right, I think we covered the Epic Pass and the reservations. I think it's fair to say that you need to go do a little homework on the website. Go to epicpass.com, right? There's a great video of Rob Katz kind of answering questions, your CEO. There's plenty of resources there to sort of educate yourself on the different policies, right?
That's right. And my recommendation would be to head to Epic Pass sooner than later, create your account, make sure you have an online account with Epic Pass so you're all set and ready to go, because as soon as November 6th comes, I think people are going to want to get on there and make their reservation. So it is a good idea to check it out in advance. There's a whole list of FAQs as well, frequently asked questions, along with the video from, as you mentioned, from our CEO, Rob Katz.
Yeah, the FAQs are I found them very, very helpful. So, all right, let's talk about the more fun things of skiing. Once you're on the hill, I personally am super optimistic that it's going to sort of be a mellow situation. And I know everyone's taking tons of precautions, and we have to have all this stuff. But in the end, skiing, it's like you got to just take a deep breath and have fun, and it'll be great. And for me, part of that is après. Tailgating, that type of stuff. Tell me a little bit about sort of how you're dealing. I guess just start with Beaver Creek, since that's your domain. You have such a great village there, and some good bars, and like, is the ice skating rink going to be open, for example? Great. Just what's going to happen there? You have to skate 6 feet apart from somebody.
Yeah, I think that I think first I would say thanks for mentioning the on mountain experience and skiing and what we really are all passionate about, and that is the skiing experience, carving turns and powder with your friends and laughing and having such a great time. I also am really optimistic that core piece of what we do, skiing and riding for fun with our friends and family, is going to be better than ever this year, because we've all been at home like I am now. We've all been cooped up and not able to do the things that we love, but we are going to be skiing amidst this global pandemic, which is pretty amazing, I think. And so in terms of after experience, things like that, for Beaver Creek and for our other resorts that have restaurants and villages in the base area, Of course, some of those are owned and operated by Vail Resorts and some are third-party operators. What I know at Beaver Creek is that our restaurants will be open. They are going to be subject to limited capacity, so capacity restrictions as required by the county. But as they've been open all summer, they've been utilizing their patios. I know many resort communities are looking at tenting those patios and trying to provide for extra seating because that 6 feet of distance is required. So that will all still be going on and possible. It's just going to look different this year, like everything else.
Okay, so but potentially you can go in the lodge and warm up at this point, at least is that very state by state? I mean, is that like in California, your California resorts? Do you know is it a different situation there versus say the Vail Beaver Creek area?
Yeah, so the way that we're approaching our on mountain restaurants and lodges will be the same across all of our 34 resorts. And so it'll be a consistent experience for our guests. And we are opening all of our on mountain restaurants and lodges. And the things that'll be different is you will be required to wear a mask, that we will put precautions and protocols in place for distancing, and they will have limited capacity. But we will be offering prepared hot food to go and packaged food, and we will be providing seating areas for people to come in and warm up. Also, restrooms are key, so being able to come in and use the restroom.
Oh yeah, how does that work? Because obviously everyone knows that's kind of a hot spot for COVID, if you will. Will you regulate like the in out, because those things can get steamy and crowded during the winter?
We will be doing the one-way traffic, one way in, one way out. And limiting gathering within restaurants. So it's kind of come in, do what you need to do and leave. And, and looking at ways to just kind of mitigate and monitor flow in terms of guest flow. Now, of course, one of the things that's beautiful about skiing is because it's cold and we're outdoors, all of us have a lot of clothing on and gloves and buffs and masks already. So there's sort of that piece of protection that comes inherently with skiing. But right, we will be monitoring and looking at capacity in order to minimize that gathering and really to provide a safe experience for not just our guests, but our employees as well.
Okay, what about if you really don't want to go inside, but you don't really want to pack your own lunch and you do want to, maybe grab some food and go sit outside? But it's cold, Tahoe, maybe, you can just pick a spot, but, it gets cold in Colorado and obviously some of your other resorts on the East. Are there enhanced, heat lamps, if you will, or tables or covered areas outside? Have you guys added any square footage to the outside sitting arrangements?
Yeah, we're looking at all those options and what might be possible at some of our larger quick service restaurants and some of our larger on-mountain restaurants. Amazingly enough, we do provide a lot of outdoor seating, and even in Colorado, people do sit outdoors a lot. That sun gets pretty warm, and if you just keep your jacket on, people seem to prefer to sit outside often, and so we will provide those opportunities. We'll continue to provide those opportunities for our guests to sit outside and enjoy the beauty of the surroundings.
It's maybe not such an issue at Beaver Creek. You don't really have a parking lot scene, but at some of your other resorts, I do get the sense that RVing and tailgating is going to be, we're going back to the old school here. Have you guys discussed that? Is there a policy? Do people need to be, can they just do whatever they want in the parking lot as far as maybe sleeping or camping out or or at least eating, hanging out in their cars? I don't know. Are there policies regarding that?
I think, like everything else, we will be looking to minimize gathering, and areas in which people gather. I think different than maybe say a football game, where there's a big barbecue and a whole scene happening. I think that if someone wants to eat lunch in their car or, sit on their tailgate with their wife or husband, I think that that's fine. We will be looking to minimize any sort of, large group gatherings on the hill as well as in the parking lots. And that also goes towards our villages and things like that. I mean, that's the name of the game right now for keeping people safe at our mountains, is really providing opportunities for people to have as much space as they want to have.
Okay. All right. And so I guess last question is, what would you say, you're on the inside, you've been in, I'm sure, an incredible amount of Zoom calls and, meetings with all the resorts and management, et cetera. What are your pro tips? How do you make this a good experience? If you say you're flying in from the East Coast or you're, coming from far away, how do you make this work in the smoothest possible way without being disappointed?
Well, I think, maybe one of the points that you touched on is the piece of advanced planning. I think that that's going to be something that people need to think about and shift to is making sure that they are planning. And the benefit of our integrated approach to our resorts is that that's a one-stop shop for us. You can just go to epicpass.com and that's where you can find all the information about any resort that you're traveling to. I would say make sure to buy a pass, make sure to buy a pass product of some sort so that you're able to get those advanced reservations and able to ski when you want. For the vast majority of days, we are going to be able to safely accommodate the majority of guests who want to ski and ride at our resorts. So I think just making sure to get a pass, making sure to get a reservation. And then, I think mindset is going to be important. The focus of this year is really about what matters most, and that's the safety of our guests and providing great skiing and riding all season long. So we're going to focus on that. We will be following our historical practice of working to open as many lifts and as much terrain as possible. So we will be providing that skiing and riding experience in the way that we have in the past. So I think just making sure to plan ahead and get that reservation.
All right. Have you guys made any snow out there yet?
We're getting ready to. Ready to. Yeah, about mid-October we'll fire them up. We're starting to charge the lines and do things like that. But yeah, it's exciting. The leaves are beautiful. The colors are changing. There's a chill in the air, and I'm super excited. I think it's going to be an awesome season. I'm really like you are optimistic about this year. I think it's going to be great.
All right. And for the record, we're doing this interview on October 1st. So a lot could change between now and October 15th when you're watching this for Snowtober. So check back in for snow conditions. All right. Last couple questions. Where are the best nachos in Beaver Creek?
The best nachos in Beaver Creek. Did you know that I really like nachos?
Oh, I didn't know that. I had no idea.
I'm a fan of nachos.
Me too.
Yeah, we've got some great nachos down in the village.
Okay.
Coyote Cafe's got some awesome nachos.
Coyote, is that the one where I get to have too many beers after the World Cup and start dancing on the bar? Is that one? Yeah. Is that the one? They serve food there?
They do. They've got some great.
I had no idea. Okay, good to know. Second question is, do you wear your long underwear over your socks or under your socks?
Well, so since, so it's funny, since moving to Colorado, now I have to wear 2 layers of long underwear so that I can stay warm enough. So I would say probably one under and one over.
Okay. Good. Solid. All right. Well, it's warmer back in Tahoe. We miss you there, but, really, just happy for you and glad you guys are settling in there. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you so much for, coming on with us, Nadia.
Johnny, thank you. This is, I really appreciate the opportunity to come. And of course, anytime I get to hang out and chat with you is time well spent. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. Bye.
Bye.